That's why I'm getting mixed up, maybe, because they do these transitions in the scenes that are subtle. That are subtle for me, for sure, because I'm caught up in the music. Like, may not be subtle for other folk that are like watching, they're more observant, where I'm like, oh, I'm listening and watching, and my eyes are kind of going, oh, distraction. But like I said, man, I just started this reacting thing, guys. I'll get better. So that is Young Jae. So start with JB singing. So they did transition to Yoon Jae. That was tricky. I didn't quite see that. Yoon Jae set the bird free. This represents that is okay if JB lives. The accident wasn't his fault, and there's no need to feel guilty. Okay. This is why the trees are still green. JB's alive, and the boy tried to let him know that it's okay if he survives. He can be free and live without guilt. But Jaeboom, or JB, feels responsible and returns to help the boys. He takes responsibility. And dies in the process. Oh, that's the dead trees. So he felt guilty, but I also felt a sense of duty, and I don't think it was out of guilt. Like, that's one thing. The other thing is, hey, look, man, regardless of how I feel, my homies are down there. I gotta go save them. That's hero talk. Now he's free and controlling the world. So then I thought it was Jin Young floating off the bed. He's saying here that it's JB or Jaeboom. Okay. So then he would be the sixth one, maybe, and the other five plus him. Okay. There's a scene where many people thought JB was inside the cage. Okay, see right there? See how I could have gotten confused on this scene where JB, like from the front, I'm kind of going, okay, I think I'm like trying to get used to who it is. I'm thinking I'm trying to think, and then when they change the scene and it's Yoon Jae at the cage, I'm thinking, oh, that's Yoon Jae. Well, it is Yoon Jae, but it wasn't Yoon Jae the whole time. It was JB who started it off. So these are the little subtle things I'm starting to get used to, and I'm glad I'm getting educated to this, because as we move forward and I start watching more videos, I can start expecting these kind of subtle shifts. Okay. And here's the thing I do want to, because I'm interested in, like, the stuff I'm writing right now. I'm interested in, like, creating an animation, and I've been watching some YouTubes on it, and I'm going to start putting that in my vlog, where I'm going to be learning about how to build my storyline. I have a storyline, but the one I was watching, they were talking about camera angles and like person to person and how you see that person. And there's a line you don't cross. You only stay on this side. So when you see the other person, for everyone that's watching, they'll always be on this angle and they'll know who's who. And there's a certain way that you're pointing the camera and things like that. Now, if you cross over this line, you can be reversed and be confused. I have a feeling they do this. They break these rules in here. The more I study, I might be able to catch them breaking the rules. But that's cool, because if they're doing that, that's what's also creating the illusions and it's like it's stuff you don't. That's the stuff they don't do here, I guess, because from what I'm studying, it's like a cardinal rule for the way you film. You don't do this. There's a line they draw, and you stay on one side of the line, and that's where you stay. I have a feeling they might be crossing those lines. We'll see as I get more observant. cage from the inside. Ah. So when JB dies helping the boys, he frees himself from this cage, feelings of guilt. You know, you're gonna have natural feelings of guilt for stuff, and you know when it's an accident, man, there's things that are just out of your control. No matter how much you feel like you're in control of your life, that's an illusion. There's a lot of things that we don't control. We don't control the weather. We don't control storms. We don't control earthquakes, tsunamis. We don't control that stuff, man. He did his best as a leader and now can rest in peace, the rest of the group. What? That was him laid on top of the car going down. Man, this is just getting deeper. I'm starting to see him more and more. I'm so glad I'm taking this journey because by the time I'm done, man, there'll be no way I can mistake who's who. Just because I'm getting to know them on a real personal level. This is pretty cool. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to live with the guilt. Interesting, man. I did not see that. If you're all accepting that interpretation, that is, let me know in the comments if that's something you guys like. Even if the flight log theory, you know, it's interesting. I think that was one of the most emotional ones I did was that flight log, and I haven't had hardly any comments on it. I've had comments on so many other videos, and I don't know if I've seen people watch it. I see a lot of views on them. So I'm just wondering if it's just too touchy of a subject, too much vulnerability there. I mean, to talk about those kind of emotions, and they're like, man, you're brave to be talking like that or just putting yourself out there like that. I don't think it's about bravery at this point. I mean, I'm at an age where, you know, well, any of us could have been going any minute. Any of us could go any minute. We're all marching slowly towards death. It's inevitable, right? We're gonna die. We're all gonna die anyways. And it all matters on how we live versus, you know, how we die. Like we get hung up on how we're going to die, but we never think about how are we going to live? Like how do we want to live? How do we want to define our lives? And the more and more like I get inspired by artists like this, it kind of helps me to like think about what kind of definition I want to put into my own personal life and how I want to like define my life. Everyone sets their own standards. Everyone sets their own like goals of what they want, where they want to go. Even if you feel like you're being pushed by other people around you or something's happening to you from the outset, it really at the end of the day is really up to you. You're the one that's choosing to follow that, to listen. You know, some of it may be good, some of it may be needed, and then you're incorporating that into your own personal life so that when you do step up one day and you take control of your own, you're the driver in the driver's seat. That's usually the fear. What they're talking about here is generally why most people don't want to be a leader, because being a leader has some of it. Like a lot of people sometimes want the benefits when they see a leader. They're like, oh, it'd be nice to be a leader because of, you know, maybe they look more wealthy, or maybe they have more going for them, or it looks like they have more confidence, or it looks like all these things, all the above, right? That you would, you know, I wish I had that in my life. But then there's also the responsibility. There's, you know, when you make a decision as a leader and few people follow you and they follow you to their death or something like that, man, how do you carry that? You know, now I think that's another thing that people think about when it comes to leadership. They're like, I don't know if I want to be a leader because it's too much responsibility. I don't want to carry that load. No thanks. And so that's something I think that we naturally is going to happen to us. Just like death, we're naturally going to grow into some kind of leadership position, whether it's in a company, whether it's in our personal lives, on a sports team, or whether it's, you know, or whether it's becoming parents. you're a leader to your kids, you know. And that's when the way your kids turn out could be, you know, these are the kind of things they're talking about. This is the depth they're talking about with JB and his guild. Like, you know, how do you feel if your kids didn't turn out the way that they were supposed to, I guess, and you know, they didn't bring honor to your house, let's say, you know, well then that reflects on you as a leader, and you know, there might be some guilt there, or some kind of, there's these deep-seated feelings that are inside of all the things they're discussing here that they're bringing to the table with this flight log, especially from what I'm taking from it. But at any rate, man, I'm just grateful to be on here talking this kind of stuff with you guys. I hope we can continue to have some really good conversations as I go through the comments. There's a lot of great people who've been watching. Sometimes I've seen so many videos, when they refer to stuff in the video, I'll have to be like, okay, which video is that? Because the titles, sometimes I remember them by title, and other times like I said, I'm more of a listener to the music, so I'm like, I have to click it back on to go, oh yeah, it's that song. You know, so this is all new for me. Like I told you, my musical life has always been listening to the music. I never really followed the artists. It was always mainly the music. And this is new for me to follow artists and follow backstories and names and faces. And but I'm loving it because it does all go together. The music flows out of these guys. A lot of these guys, like JB writes. I'm hearing he writes the music. There's people producing the videos that are in the group. I mean, these guys are amazing guys. So glad to be following. Glad you guys are on board with me, those who are on board. And for those who are joining the channel for the first time and checking it out, you guys are welcome here anytime. If you like what you're seeing here, click like, subscribe, share, comment. Go to my description box below. Like I said, if you want to see my vlog and know the backstory behind what's going on with this, I'm going to be adding stuff to that too as well. Also for me, it's like I'm doing this alone. I do have some support. I have family and friends I do talk to, but I can't talk. I'm working by myself, so I don't have, you know, you go to work, you have a coworker. There's usually someone you meet as you're working, like, hey, what's up, Joe? Let's go to work. Punch the card. You get to hang out with Joe a little bit, you know, whoever it is you work with. I don't have that. I have my little dog, Chewy. He don't talk back to me. So this vlog is therapeutic for me because it's like me talking to me still, but it's still something like I'm coming to work going, hey, man, what are you doing for work today? Dude, got some videos to punch out. I'm thinking of doing this with my music. So it's sort of like a self-talk, you know, and I might do some collaborations in the future. Like I have my other brother who does beats. I have my other brother in Hawaii he writes, he's writing books and stuff like that. So we might get together, but until then, it's me, myself, and I started this deal. And you guys. Love you guys. I'll see you on the next one.